It's Sunday, the 1st of June, 2025. Hello, good evening to you. Welcome to News 360. I am Noble Crosby Annan.
And I am Ayisha Yakubu. Coming up, the headlines.
News 360 Headlines is brought to you by
Flamingo Paint,
Pepsodent Charcoal and Pepsodent Herbal,
EcoBank.
In the bulletin tonight, Office of the Special Prosecutor threatens to place former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta on an Interpol red notice if he fails to show up at the Office of the Special Prosecutor on the 2nd of June 2025.
Health Committee of Parliament raises alarm over youth abuse of red as it vows to take measures with stakeholders to control the crisis.
Plus, President Mahama announces plans to launch Ghana Labour Export Program to create jobs through international partnerships.
And in international news, Ukraine carries out a daring attack on nuclear-capable bombers deep in Russian region of Siberia.
Welcome to the broadcast. We're live also on all our social media platforms at TV3 Ghana. Thank you so much for joining us on those platforms as well. Let's now get into the details of the bulletin.
The Office of the Special Prosecutor directed the former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta to present himself in person at the headquarters on Monday, June 2, 2025. This is in connection with an ongoing investigation into multiple financial dealings during his tenure. According to the OSP, should the former Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta fail to honor the summons, he will be reinstated on the OSP's list of wanted persons and officially declared a fugitive from justice. Office of the Special Prosecutor further warned it will begin processes to issue an Interpol red notice, potentially subjecting the former minister to international arrest and extradition. Now, let's bring you the key issues that are being investigated in this particular issue. There is the Petroleum and Minerals Revenue Assurance, and with this, it involves contractual agreements between Strategic Mobilization Ghana Limited and the Ghana Revenue Authority. There's also the Electricity Company of Ghana contract termination, and the termination of a contract between the Electricity Company of Ghana and Beijing Xiaosheng Technology. Also, the National Cathedral project is being investigated in this, and with this, it has to do with the procurement procedures and financial transactions related to the National Cathedral as well. And there's the ambulance procurement. This is a Ministry of Health contract with Service Ghana Auto Group Limited for purchasing and maintaining 307 ambulances. And then finally, the GRA Tax P Fund Management. It involves the handling and disbursement of funds from the Tax P Fund account of the GRA. Let's bring in Martin Pebu to discuss this a bit further. Good evening, Council, and thank you for joining us on News 360.
Good evening, Ayisha.
Matt, please tell us how significant this latest move by the OSP is to invite Ken Ofori-Atta for questioning.
Yeah, so this has been this has been on the table for close to 2 months now, right? So you would recall that when the OSP first sought to have Ofori-Atta attend upon the OSP, it turned out that Ofori-Atta had traveled out of Ghana. Long story short, eventually it was agreed that they should meet tomorrow. So tomorrow is the D-Day. So, you Ghanaians are expectant. We are hoping that tomorrow Ofori-Atta will show up and answer all the questions that the OSP has for him in respect of those contracts. But it's not also just about the attendance upon the OSP, because in law, Article 19 of our Constitution gives Ofori-Atta the right not to give the OSP any answers, okay? Except that under the law, there is also provision that if they ask for certain documents, that's the OSP Act, he must produce those documents. Otherwise, that's also a crime. But he can challenge that as well. So let's just remember that it's not so much about what the Ofori-Atta would tell OSP, but the fact that it would help the case to move forward. Under our laws, it is the duty of the state to prove the suspect, or let's say the accused, guilty. It's the state that must prove. The accused doesn't have to give the state information to make him guilty. There are some exceptions. We are not talking about those exceptions now, but generally, the state must find its own evidence. But you see, the thing is that at the time Ofori-Atta travels, they have not had the opportunity to inform him about the criminal processes ongoing. So tomorrow, when he shows up, whether he gives the answers or not, and except the situation where OSP will compel him to produce certain documents, the main thing is that it will allow OSP to push the case forward, meaning that if he's not answering, they can still charge him. And when they charge him, that is to say, they will tell him the offenses the OSP thinks he has committed. Has he got any answer he wants to write? He can simply write no answer, or he can say, I won't write anything. And then it will pave the way, the critical thing, for the case to go to court. That's the main thing. It will pave the way for the case to go to court, because at that time, he has been formally informed. So even if Ofori-Atta were to leave Ghana, touch wood, unceremoniously, the case can still go to court even in his absence. You hear trial in absentia.
But, Counsel, the OSP has also warned that if the finance minister does not show up, he will be put on an Interpol red notice. What legal weight does this carry?
Oh, very, very weighty. Putting him on the red alert Interpol list, right, would hurt Ofori-Atta financially. No businessman would want to do business with another person who is on the wanted list. So it's in Ofori-Atta's interest to come. Yeah. You see the other one, he quickly had to arrange to accept to come because he was on the wanted list. If he stays on the wanted list, he will be ruined. Business partners will be very wary. It means that what it will mean is that he doesn't know how to organize his legal affairs. And who wants to deal with somebody who can't organize his legal affairs well? So I would be surprised, because the price will be very hefty to have Ofori-Atta back on the wanted list. Well, if he wants to play it that way, you know, the OSP has said it, that if he doesn't come, they will reinstate him. So it's for him to decide. Unless he doesn't want to do business again. Okay, then that's it.
So, Counsel, briefly before you take leave of us, tell us how this whole issue reflects on Ghana's border fight against corruption in high office.
It's good. All right, yes, the OSP, we had some issues with how the OSP went about it in the beginning, but eventually tomorrow is almost here, less than 24 hours. So we will concentrate on the positives. So in terms of the positives, it's good. Because, you know, Ofori-Atta is somebody that, you know, for me, I was always on TV3, key points, and I still say it, that he must come to justice. He must come to justice, the SML deal, and the other ones, Ayisha, you read out. So tomorrow is a big day for us. It will show that, yes, the day of accountability is here. Those times when he was doing those things, you remember Yakubu and 96 other MPs, and then later they said the whole of the majority caucus went on the demonstration against him, that Akufo-Addo should take him out. But because each time we borrow, Ofori-Atta's companies make money, and by extension, Akufo-Addo makes money because they are related, right? Akufo-Addo would not listen. So it was a government of impunity. They were just so deep in corruption. It was so embarrassing. So it's good that tomorrow, Ofori-Atta would attend upon the OSP. Then he will feel it, that, okay, this is what Ghanaians told me to stop. And yet myself and Akufo-Addo wouldn't listen. And this invitation of Ofori-Atta to the OSP is also an indictment on Akufo-Addo, because we consistently told him that Ofori-Atta and Akufo-Addo themselves, they are corrupt. They are very corrupt, and they kept denying. So let the process go on.
Council, it's always a pleasure having you on News 360. Martin is a legal practitioner.
Well, away from that to some other stories tonight, the Health Committee of Parliament has expressed worry over the use of red by the youth. Vice Chairman of the committee, Dr. Sebastian Sandari, in an interview says the committee is taking steps to help ensure the menace is brought under control.
Parents forever once never gave me to believe in second chance.
The use of red among the youth has reached an alarming rate. Some believe the use of the drug helps them work long hours or engage in hazardous tasks.
Yesi edrubi ekonumbi na aja ya timidi akwa adwuma akoye akobo hard. Am koso bi hwe ya ne. Say minimi se o de kan wano a ni jai no enye easy.
Drug no amama ne me intematity over years ache kura. Ye ko ba ya ni se afi ade na me de me ho be hye mo no. Afi amama nya sika ahwe wo.
But Vice Chairman of the Health Committee, Dr. Sebastian Sandari, says more education on the dangers of the drug is urgently needed.
We have to intensify public awareness, the need for health education on the use of these drugs, because we see the side effects or the harm that is causing on our youth, because they start small, get addicted, and it's not difficult, to stop. So it's for all of us, the churches, the mosque, assemblies. I mean, everybody must be involved. Parents must be involved so that we educate our youth on the dangers of the use of red. One way is to reduce the availability of the drug.
He said the committee has already taken steps to address the issue.
The use of red by our youth in this country is public health crisis. So the health committee has taken it as a very important measure that we have to act on. One of our members made a statement on the floor with regards to that, calling on the need for our regulatory bodies, i.e. the Food and Drug Authority and other bodies, to really act to ensure that we reduce this burden in the society. That led to the Minister for Health, who came to the House to make a strong statement, on that.
The MP for Dafiama-Buse Issa said that as part of the committee's agenda, they plan to visit the Food and Drugs Authority and other regulatory bodies to ensure compliance with the law. Opioids and red are classified as prescription-only medicines and should not be sold over the counter or in pharmacies without a doctor's prescription. However, some pharmacies flout the law, with individuals also engaging in the illegal sale of these drugs. The Pharmaceutical Society of Ghana is calling for more public education to ensure the youth understand the dangers of opioid abuse. The society has also commended the efforts of stakeholders in confiscating illegal drugs.
Well, certainly a menace that stakeholders are working to address there. Dr. George Amo is the Executive Secretary at the National Peace Council. He's joining us also at the moment. Doc, thank you for your time with us on the program. While the Peace Council is known for conflict resolution, how concerned are you about the threat opioid abuse poses to Ghana's social stability and, by extension, its peace?
Thank you very much. I think what is happening is a disturbing development for particularly our youth and the peace and stability of our country in the long run. Why am I saying this? People are predisposed to conflict situations when they encounter issues that they cannot handle, that they think there are no solutions. And particularly for our youth, who may have nothing to do, who may not have work to do, and they resort to using drugs to either get them relief, in the short time and those things. They become easily available for, potential, insurgents and etc. to use. So that's the worry, particularly for us in the peace industry. So we have linked up already. Let me tell our good listeners that we've linked up already with, we're trying to link up with UNICEF and with other bodies to particularly engage our schools to ensure that they do not go this path because it will not be healthy for us. What we are also doing is, indeed, just last week I returned from the northern part of Ghana. I'm going to go back this week, and I have my team there. What we are trying to do is to encourage, wherever we find ourselves, we are trying to encourage our people not to engage in this kind of drugs, either opioid or opium. Any of them is not healthy for them. And I would want authorities to also be very, very interested in this matter and to combat it as we are combating currently the galamsey and even the economy. You know why? Because the human capital is the most important among the variables that we need for development. Land, if you look at land, you look at capital, you look at human resource. Human resource is something that we cannot trail about with at all. So I want to encourage all the ministries. We have to be interested in helping stem this development. It shouldn't be left only to the Ministry of Health and FD and other, but everybody must be interested in helping to reduce the effects of these drugs, and particularly from allowing them inside our territories.
Right. Dr. Amo, thank you so much for your time with us on the program. George Amo is the Executive Secretary at the National Peace Council, speaking with us on this development there.
Moving on, a key finding from the first wave of the governance series by the Ghana Statistical Service has revealed that more than 70% of Ghanaians feel excluded from the political decision-making process, believing there's little or no opportunity for ordinary citizens to influence governance. Only 12% said the system provides sufficient space for citizen participation. The findings also reveal that corruption remains a major concern, with 55.7% of people reporting contact with public officials in 2024. Of those, nearly 1 in 6, which is 18.4%, admitted to offering gifts or bribes, mostly money, to access services. Bribery was more common among men and urban residents. Greater Accra and Ashanti regions recorded the highest rates of bribery, while Savannah and Northeast saw the lowest.
Well, let's have a conversation on the back of this latest release from the Ghana Statistical Service, and the 3 News Research Desk has put together a very nice dashboard for you tonight. Ever heard about the phrase "something small for the boys"? Well, in Ghana, sometimes it feels like you can't get anything done without dropping, if you like, something small, whether it is renewing your license or getting a signature, or just, trying to move up the queue. The unspoken rule is no gift, no help. Well, this year, the numbers are out, and I should tell you that they're telling quite a full story. Let's dive into the bribery and gift-giving dashboard 2024. At the heart of the story is the stat that 18.4% of people who engaged public officials in 2024 gave them a gift. Now, that's nearly 1 in every 6 interactions. And no, this does not include birthday presents. We're talking about facilitation fees, something to speed up things, or as people put it, grease the wheels. Bribery or appreciation, it's yours to decide. Let's move on to what next this is talking about. Who is doing the giving. Now, over 3/4, and I'm talking about some 77.4% are men. Is this suggesting that men, possibly due to the occupational exposure or societal expectations, are more entangled in transactional exchanges? Maybe. We're also saying this, that 61.9% are urban dwellers. Apparently, the city and its life, it comes with a price. And sometimes it is in brown envelopes, white envelopes, hampers. Could it also be that the fast pace of city life and the increased access to officials, or just a sign of urban hustle, meeting bureaucratic bottlenecks that sometimes a gift will help facilitate it easier? These are other things that we're looking at. How old are the gifters? Now, the 35 to 49 age group, they dominate with 43% of the share. This group of people, they are the core working class. They are active, they are mobile, and they are constantly engaging with public institutions. In terms of education, this is what it tells us, that both junior, middle school, and graduates, I'm talking about for junior middle school graduates, 26.4%, and those with tertiary education, we're also seeing some 25.7%. They are almost equally likely to give, education. They are likely to give. But education, it seems that it does not fully shield one from the practice of giving gifts or bribes, if you like, by extent, corruption. Now, let's talk about the employment statistics. Now, to employment, 75.6% of givers, they were employed. The data is certainly hinting that economic activity often meets administrative friction, and that's where the gifts come in. Let's move on to this. What about persons with disabilities? Persons with disabilities in this regard. A staggering 21.1% of persons with disabilities, they give gifts, even higher than the general population. 40.1% of those, they had physical disabilities. 32.5%, they had visual impairments. Now, this is raising concerns and troubling questions about how systematic barriers may be even harder to overcome for the most vulnerable group of people we have in this country. Now, to the regional differences, a regional snapshot of what we're talking about. Location matters. Highest incidence, you can see the Greater Accra is leading with some 22%, followed by the Ashanti region with some 18.1%. The lowest we're looking at, Savannah with 1% and Northeast with 1.1%. To show minimal cases. Now, this geographic disparity may reflect different levels of development, population density, or access to services. You tell me. If we're moving on to some other factors in relation to this whole concern we're talking about. Now, what is being given? We're talking about the gift box itself. What is being given? Here's the gift menu. Now, cash is 85.2%. No surprises. It is still king. There's the mention of food, drinks, because sometimes maybe a bowl of food often opens doors than a phone call will do. There's also the mention about services or favors. That's like 4.4%. Valuables like 1.4%. But the message, I'm sure, is clear. When it comes to moving things along, money is still talking, and it is talking very loudly. Now, to where it is happening the most. Police-related agencies, they had the highest bribery rates. MTTD led with 61%, general duties at 46.7%. But my question to you is, are you surprised? I don't think so. The institutions meant to uphold law and order, they are, ironically, the most compromised. In fact, they are the ones getting, if you like, sorted the most. A very disturbing development we need to look at. But where is it better? Lowest bribery rates, that's what we're talking about right now. The Minerals Commission, 0% according to the data from the Ghana Statistical Service. The Ghana Statistical Service is also mentioned here, 4.0. Parliament, 4.8. Social Security, 8.0. The narcotics control, we're looking at some 6.6. Do you agree? These institutions, they offer models of restraint, and they could be examples of best practices, whether it is low interaction or high integrity, they deserve mention. Unless you watching us disagree with these stats that the Ghana Statistical Service has given to us. Now, there's a part that gives hope, and I'm talking about the silver lining. 92% of people who were asked for a bribe refused. That's huge. And guess who led the resistance? The police saw 32.4% of those refusals. So, what I'm saying is that the police, according to the numbers, they asked more, but they were also refused more as well. This is where the change begins, when citizens push back the power of saying no. So based on this development, let's conclude this way. The Ghana Bribery and Gift Giving Dashboard, like we've explained to you right now in 2024, it is more than just a collection of stats. It's a mirror held up to our society. And it exposes a culture that must change. That one day, we'll be able to walk into an office and only be asked one thing. How can I help you? And not, what have you brought? Let us know what you think about this dashboard, the numbers given to us by the Ghana Statistical Service, and how it impacts your life, whether we are on a good tangent. I should also remind you that it was put together by the 3 News research desk. Enoch and Wisdom put this together nicely, but the data is from the Ghana Statistical Service. Those are some other stories tonight.
We're taking all the way to Takrady, where 25 suspected kidnap victims have been rescued from new site housing in the Ofori-Atta municipality of the region. The victims included 6 females, all in their late teens and early 20s. They have been handed over to the Takrady Central Police Station for questioning. Assembly member for Yakubu Zango, that's Hamza Mohammed Amin Adam, led the rescue and told Connect FM that none of the victims were identified as Ghanaians. Abdul Ghani, who is an eyewitness, disclosed that the escapee who led him to their place of hostage disclosed that they were brought into Ghana through a recruitment scam. Let's get more on this development. Abraham Mensah works with our sister station Connect FM in Takrady, and he's the one that covered this particular story. Abraham, good evening to you. What more can you report on this incident?
So we received a call just around 3 p.m. of a suspected kidnap case within Ofori-Atta constituency, precisely just around the TTU main campus. And according to the lead person, the assembly member, Hamza, one other gentleman actually called on him that there's been some foreign person that had called on him for rescue. Upon this interaction, he realized that he is an Ivorian. This is a gentleman within the ages 28, roughly 29, actually in his late 20s. And upon a few questioning, he indicated that they've been held hostage for a couple of days. They've been poorly fed. The promise they were given was that they were being offered some job here in Ghana. He came over with a wife only to make assurances that this is the kind of work he's doing here in Ghana, only to end up in the grips of these criminals, suspected criminals. So far, what we've gathered is that this seems to be one of these recruitment scams. A few items that were identified within their holding area, which is an 8-bedroom apartment at Ofori-Atta new site housing. They found some talisman, some other few injections, and some other things that seems to be ritualistic in nature. We've not been able to identify the key persons that actually has been facilitating this kind of, recruitment scam within that space. What we've been able to uncover is that all the persons, the 25, are actually victims. Some of them attempted to make calls on supposedly the person who brought them over. because of the language barrier, the police have not made any direct conversation with these victims. They are waiting on the regional police command to take up this matter and further the investigation.
Abraham, do we know what the current condition of the rescued victims are? Are they receiving any kind of care or support?
So when you take a look in terms of their physique, they look quite pale. Largely, you could tell they've not been fed well. They look lean, and some of them were even shivering. We cannot tell if it's quite a psychological effect of the condition that they were put in. But one other thing we gathered was that some of them have been subjected to torture. We cannot tell precisely which amongst them had fallen victim to them. But in that space where they were found, they were locked up, they broke into the compound. There wasn't a single mattress for them to provide them that kind of a comfort for them to rest. Some were even found in washrooms, locked up standing. And that could tell of the inhumane nature of the situation that they were found in there.
Abraham, we'll be looking for a lot more details in our subsequent bulletin. Abraham Mensah works with our sister station in Connect FM in Takrady, and he's bringing us up to speed on some 25 suspected victims of a kidnap that were rescued in the Western region. We're taking a break now, and we'll return with some more stories right here on News 360.
Back to the broadcast, let's bring you some other stories tonight. And President John Dramani Mahama has revealed plans to officially launch the Ghana Labour Export Program. The program is part of government's efforts to create job opportunities for the country's youth through international employment partnerships. While speaking in the Ahafo region on Saturday, May 31, during his thank you tour, President Mahama said government is currently in discussions with multiple countries facing labour shortages to enable Ghanaian professionals to work abroad on fixed-term contracts.
We'll soon launch a Ghana Labour Export Program. There are labour shortages in many countries across the world. We are negotiating with several of those countries to export some of our professionals to work on fixed-term contracts abroad. This will include agricultural workers, construction workers, electricians, welders, mechanics, health workers, chefs and caterers, drivers, machine operators, warehouse supervisors, among others. A contract has already been signed with one country for the export of 2,000 temporary workers. Young qualified people will be selected fairly from all the 16 regions of our country, including Ahafo.
Now, the Ghana National Council of Private Schools says the inclusion of private schools in the free senior high school program will give students more options during the school selection process. Now, the government this week announced the integration of private senior high schools into the computerized school selection and placement system as part of its campaign promise. Executive Director of the Ghana National Council of Private Schools, Nana Kwesi Jetwa, spoke on hot issues.
The port, that's what I said, that because of information, the manual that they are filling now, you wouldn't see the private school in it. But on the online, it is going to be integrated. Those schools that we are going to agree probably by tomorrow, going to be integrated. So students can still choose them. Okay. After you have chosen the school, the computerized selection placement or program will place you in wherever you have been qualified to be. You know, the placement, we have self-placement also. And so when the results come and your first choice or second choice, you didn't get it, you can still go to the portal and those schools with vacancies, including the private schools and even the public schools, you can select them. So now they are in the schools now.
Right.
Let's now take you to the northern region because the main streets of Tamale have become increasingly hazardous due to the constant presence of stray animals, raising concerns among residents and commuters about safety and public order. My colleague Nadra Mohammed has more in this report.
Goats, sheep and cows and other domestic animals are frequently seen roaming freely along major roads, especially in central areas of the northern regional capital, Tamale. These animals, often left unattended by their owners, have been identified as a major cause of road accidents in traffic congestion. They frequently disrupt the smooth flow of traffic and pose a threat to both motorists and pedestrians. Drivers have reported numerous near-miss situations, and some have unfortunately been involved in natural collisions while trying to avoid hitting these animals.
When it is on market days, the roads are very choked. As a yellow driver, sometimes you can be confronted with an animal. So trying to slow down for the animal to pass, another vehicle at your back can easily strike you. Yeah, so we are appealing to the stakeholders that they should look into it.
At a point, sometimes you will be coming on the road, then along the line, you will see animals crossing. Sometimes you will not even be aware of it. You just see them crossing. By the time you realize, they will come in the middle of the road. So either you want it or not, you have to slow down, if possible, stop for them to cross.
The situation is particularly dangerous at night, when reduced visibility increases the risk of accidents. Beyond the immediate safety concerns, the presence of stray animals in the city center contributes to poor environmental hygiene and gives the city a disorganized appearance. Alabri Jabiru recently had an accident on his way home from work after a goat suddenly crossed his path, causing him to fall.
I don't understand why you went and buy animals and just leave them in the roads. They are just causing trouble to people. Me myself, I'm a victim. You can look at my face. What happened? That was last night. Before I see a goat run into a motor, I fell. This what happened. So they just took me to the hospital now and dressed it.
Lillian Walter narrowly avoided an accident when a goat crossed her path. She says she was fortunate because she was not speeding at the time.
Animals roaming on our streets is something I think the Assembly should really consider putting in place measures to ensure that these animals don't cause accidents on our road. Me, for instance, a few days ago I was riding on the road, luckily on my part I wasn't speeding, and then all of a sudden a goat runs into my motorbike. A colleague of mine had the same experience. He was on the way home and then a goat ran into his motorbike and then he fell, seriously injured.
In 2018, the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly passed a bylaw on the movement of animals in the metropolis. Section 181 of the bylaw allows the Assembly to seize and impound cattle found roaming without supervision in public areas. But the Assembly has not been able to strictly implement the bylaw to sanitize the metropolis. The Public Regulations Officer of the Tamale Metropolitan Assembly, Amadou Mustafa Zakaria, expressed concern about how political interference is affecting enforcement of these bylaws.
There is a thin line between our work as city authorities and community members ourselves. So you notice that when you want to enforce the law the way it is, they either describe you an arrogant person who has no respect for authority. And when they say authority, they often refer to the traditional authorities or even our religious leaders. And the disregard they are referring to is you sort of not heeding to whatever request they are bringing to free an otherwise wrongdoing.
As accidents and inconveniences continue to mount, the people of Tamale are calling for swift intervention to restore order and ensure the safety of all road users.
In more news this evening, more than 150 island communities across the country are set to benefit from an off-grid rural solar-powered project. This is part of government's ambitious target to expand electricity coverage and light up rural Ghana through a program christened Scaling Up Renewable Energy. Belinda Tete joined the Minister for Energy and Green Transition at Lala Island in the Sene East District of the Bono region for the official launch.
Ambitious initiative spearheaded by the Ministry of Energy and Green Transition with support from key development partners will see installation of 12,000 net-metered rooftop solar PV systems alongside the construction of new solar-powered mini-grids in underserved and remote communities. Speaking at the launch, the Minister for Energy and Green Transition, John Abdullahi Jinapo, emphasized the transformative impact the program will have on citizens.
Open up new opportunities for innovation and entrepreneurship, as well as curb the migration of the people from the rural areas into the cities in search of non-existing opportunities.
The minister highlighted the broader vision of the ministry, which is to empower communities and bridge the rural-urban energy drive.
As a ministry, we are not just installing solar panels or building infrastructure. We are lighting up lives, empowering communities, and bridging the rural-urban energy drive.
Head of Cooperation for the Swiss Embassy, Magdalena West, also expressed pride in their collaboration with the ministry and the African Development Bank, noting the construction of 3 solar-powered mini-grids currently serving over 3,700 residents in island communities in Ada. She further underscored the importance of bilateral cooperation in advancing climate action and energy equity. The Member of Parliament for Sene East, Dominic Napari, welcomed the intervention, stating that the program will stimulate economic development and improve the livelihoods of the people of Lala and surrounding communities. The launch of the Scaling Up Renewable Energy program marks a pivotal moment in Ghana's journey toward energy inclusivity and environmental sustainability. By extending clean, reliable and affordable electricity to remote island communities, the initiative not only supports the country's climate goals, but also lays the foundation for rural transformation, improved healthcare and enhanced education and economic growth. For the residents of Lala and beyond, this project is more than just power, it is empowerment, opportunity and a brighter future. Belinda Tete, TV3 News, Puno East Region.
This is News 360 live here on TV3. Let's bring you some sports news now.
Hello there, good evening and welcome to the sports segment here on News 360. My name is Billy Shen. Now the stakes keep getting higher in the Ghana Premier League with just a game to end the season. Title chasing Nations FC abandoned their game against Basake Holy Stars after what the away side deemed unfair officiating, while Gold Stars narrowly beat Bekum Chelsea by 3-2. My colleague Mutala Yakubu summarizes what Game Week 33 results mean on the standings.
Let's start off with Asante Kotoko, who still have an iota of hope of winning the Ghana Premier League, and they took on Mediema where they won by 3-2 with Albert Amoah scoring a hat-trick in that game. And also Baby Any Gold Stars, who are eagerly chasing their first ever Ghana Premier League title, had to play at the Golden City Park against Bekum Chelsea, and they came up with the goods as they won the game by 3-2, which has seen them climb on top of the Ghana Premier League table. Now, one of the most anticipated games was played in Nzima, where it was Basake Holy Stars that came up against Nations FC, who themselves prior to this game were leading the Ghana Premier League table. And after a few minutes into the game, Basake Holy Stars were awarded a penalty which they converted, and after that the referee awarded them with a second penalty which did not go down well with Nations FC as they agitated, they protested and finally abandoned the game. So that game was interrupted and never ended in 90 minutes. So we are waiting to see what the disciplinary committee of the FA would say concerning that one. But as it stands, it is Bebiani Gold Stars who have 60 points and are on top of the table. Nations also have 60 points with Asante Kotoko on 58. And if both teams should win the final game, that is next week, it will mean that Bebiani Gold Stars win their first ever Ghana Premier League because they have a better head-to-head as compared to Nations FC.
That was a wrap by Mutala Yakubu. But there's an update from Nations FC. They have released a statement after abandoning their game against the Basake Holy Stars. And they listed 5 key points as to why they decided to abandon it. Poor officiating, security concerns, inadequate security personnel, disrespect to the supporters, and also media obstruction. And we'll give you further updates from the camp of Nations FC and possibly from the camp of Basake Holy Stars in our subsequent bulletins. But let's move on to some other stories where Ghanaian sportsmen over the years have basically been suffering from a number of injuries, and treatments have been inadequate over the last few years, resulting in the abrupt end of their football careers. As a result, Dr. George Chidi, who worked with most football clubs in the country, has established a 3-month sports medicine clinic in Kumasi and the Ashanti region with the goal of screening and managing injuries for Ghanaian footballers of all levels.
Injuries have become a constant feature for athletes over the years. Some deal with minor ones and go on to have successful careers, while others suffer severe injuries, setting their careers backwards. In football this season, Black Stars players like Ayisha, Ernest Nyama and others were sidelined with long-term injuries. The search for solutions have been endless. As a result, Dr. George Chidi, who has worked with most football clubs in the country, has established a 3-month sports medicine clinic in Kumasi, Ashanti region, with the goal of screening and managing injuries for Ghanaian footballers of all levels. The program saw a large number of current and retired athletes who have suffered critical injuries. Dr. George Chidi explains what inspired him and his team to operate.
Not just football players, it cuts across every sport. We're here to help them get back to sports. So talking about players who have had injuries, old injuries, new injuries, what I believe in is that I believe that every Ghanaian sports person has the right to know what is wrong with him or her.
Dr. George, after engaging these injured individuals, narrated the kind of injuries that most footballers suffer and how those injuries ruin their careers due to inadequate care.
He's had a knee injury. The first thing to be done is that the player's gone, with all due respect to them, they've gone to the traditionalist. Most of them have had issues. We've seen a player now, he's had what we call scarification marks. They use the razor blades to cut them. He has a septic arthritis, so he has an infection in the knee. And we also have some of them with very subtle injuries, but these injuries require medical interventions, and they've actually improvised, and they're doing, of course, their own mode of management.
Some of the players that enrolled in the program acknowledge the wonderful benefits they experienced after engaging with doctors.
I was facing it for like 3 months when I was with Accra Great Olympics. Then when I came to the house, I went to him. He started a PRP treatment. Then he made me rest for like a month and some weeks. That was all.
The program is intended to continue through Ghana for 3 months, focusing on saving the lives of footballers.
That's it for the sports segment here on News360. My name is Billy Shen. Entertainment is up next.
The stakes have never been higher in the Perfect Match Extra reality show. Following the dramatic eviction of 4 housemates, the game takes a thrilling turn as 2 stunning new contestants, Bambi and Paulina, enter the scene. With an exciting week ahead, both ladies are on a mission to win the heart of one lucky gentleman.
And then he signaled me again.
Look at it.
That I should tell him to leave here. And I got pissed. I'm like, why can't you tell him man to leave here? Why are you telling me?
Right.
Because I didn't want any issue with Big Mama. We had 10 minutes a day and I didn't want to waste it.
With just 3 weeks to go, Perfect Matches Tour continues to thrill fans with unforgettable love stories and captivating conversations.
Irama was like, she kind of feels like Lily is attracted, like she kind of likes me, so it's normal for her to, for her to dream about something like that.
During the Saturday night live show, AJ sat down with all the housemates to review the week's biggest moments and emotional twists.
AJ, she told me that she told her that when they went to the bathroom, Perry tried to kiss her again.
Well, I never did something like that.
Larissa, I told you that.
You did, bro. You did. And that Perry said,
What are you saying?
Calm down. And that Perry said he still likes her.
No. Like, what are you saying?
Okay.
What many described as a heavy night of emotions, 4 housemates, Akofa, Blanco, Seven Sparks, and Lily Brown were evicted after failing to secure enough public votes.
You have been evicted from Big Mama's house. Please say goodbye to your housemates and make your way backstage.
But it's not all heartbreak. In a surprising twist, 2 stunning new housemates, Bambi and Paulina, have entered the house, bringing fresh energy and a whole new level of drama. With just 1 week to win the heart of a certain gentleman, the question is, can they survive the pressure and make their mark? Fingers crossed.
Well, that's your entertainment. Let's now bring you some international news.
Ukraine claims to have left more than 40 Russian bomber planes burning in large-scale drone attack. The Irkutsk government says drones that attack a military base in Sredny, Siberia were launched from tracks. According to Ukraine Security Service, Operation Spider's Web took 1 year and a half to organize and has been overseen by Ukraine's President Zelensky. Ukraine's attack took place as a second round of direct talks between Ukrainian and Russian officials is scheduled to happen in Istanbul on Monday. This is part of revived diplomatic efforts spearheaded by U.S. President Donald Trump for a ceasefire deal and eventually an end to the war. Ukraine has conducted audacious attacks on Russia before, but this is a new level. Ukrainian authorities report 472 drones and 7 ballistic and cruise missiles were involved in a Russian attack Saturday night in what appeared to be one of its largest so far. A bus crash in Nigeria's northern state of Kano has killed 22 athletes returning home from a national sports event. The bus, which was reportedly carrying more than 30 passengers, plunged off the Chiromawa Bridge of the Kano-Zaria Expressway on Saturday. The exact cause of the incident was not known, but the Federal Road Safety Corps said it might have occurred as a result of fatigue and excessive speed after a long overnight trip. The survivors of the crash were taken to a local hospital for treatment. Egypt has unveiled plans for a vast new urban development west of Cairo, where a man-made channel of River Nile will eventually wind through what was once arid deserts. The new city, named Jirian, meaning flow in Arabic, is part of Egypt's Nile Delta scheme, a massive agricultural initiative aiming to reclaim about 10,117 square kilometers west of the original Nile Delta. The ambitious agricultural project, which started in 2021, seeks to boost production of strategic crops such as wheat and corn while reducing the North African country's food import bill. Prime Minister Keir Starmer has warned the United Kingdom must be prepared to confront and defeat hostile states with modern military capabilities. His comments come as the UK government unveiled a £1.5 billion plan to build at least 6 new weapons and explosive factories. European nations have rushed to strengthen their armed forces in recent months following President Trump's comment that Europe must shoulder more responsibility for its security.
And that's all for News 360 this evening. Thank you so much for spending the last 1 hour with us. I am Ayisha Yakubu.
And I am Noble Crosby. And as always, there's more news on our website, 3news.com. Please do well to log on for more. Stay with us here on TV3 and enjoy Date Rush with Giovanni Caleb at 8 o'clock. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.